নমস্কাৰ মিডডেট নহতে ষ্টুডিঅত মই প্ৰিয়ংকা আজি সংবিধান গৃহীত দিৱস লোকসভাত উদযাপিত হৈছে সংবিধান গৃহীত দিৱস অনুষ্ঠানত অংশ লৈছে প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰীৰ লগতে গৃহমন্ত্ৰী অমিত শাহে সমান্তৰালভাৱে গুৱাহাটীৰ মহামান্য ৰাজ্যপালৰ উপস্থিতিত উদযাপন সংবিধান দিৱসৰ কাৰ্যসূচী অনুষ্ঠানত উপস্থিত অসম বিধানসভাৰ অধ্যক্ষ বিশ্বজিৎ দৈমাৰী আজিৰ দিনটোতে গণপৰিষদত গৃহীত হৈছিল ভাৰতীয় সংবিধান গৃহীত সংবিধানখন কাৰ্যকৰী হৈছিল 1950 চনৰ 26 জানুৱাৰীত আমি পোনপটীয়াকৈ গৈছো ৰাজভৱনত চলি থকা সংবিধান গৃহীত দিৱসৰ কাৰ্যসূচীৰ মাজলৈ লৈ গৈছো পোনপটীয়াকৈ
Executive and judiciary draws its powers from the constitution. Indian constitution is a federal and in nature with unitary spirit. There is a three-tier government structure with independent judiciary. Separation of powers is ensured among the three organs of the state. Although the parliament is empowered to amend the constitution, it is not supposed to amend the basic structure of the constitution. This was laid down in the landmark judgment of Keshwanand Bharati versus State of Kerala in the year 1973. In the constitutional scheme of things, judiciary is the final arbiter of the constitution. It is mandated by the constitution to act as watchdog, preventing any overstepping of the constitutional bounds by other two organs, that is executive and the legislature. It protects the fundamental rights of the citizens from the infringement by any state organ. Independence of judiciary cannot be taken away under any garb. Indian constitution is a fine blend of securing its people's fundamental rights and realization of aspirations of the people in the directive principles and execution of these provisions by providing checks and balances among the three organs of the government for fair governance. Its enduring quality is tested in the last seven decades with 101 amendments. Its dynamism to respond to the changes taking place in the fast developing country like India is also proved. In the end, I can state with pride that we have a constitution that is robust, comprehensive, stable, and dynamic enough to realize the aspirations of our people. Ladies and gentlemen, time has come for us to focus on duties. As all of us know, fundamental rights are legally enforceable. There is no adequate instrument by which fundamental duties can be enforced. It is my ardent request to everybody on this occasion to reflect on fundamental duties and make them an integral part of our individual dispositions. In my opinion, people of our country should be united to mobilize the public and generate massive awareness for fundamental duties. People's movement is the strongest tool in a democracy. So the Indian democracy also, there should be large-scale public mobilization for generating awareness and molding public opinion for rendering fundamental duties. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to flag an important point, and that is this year we are celebrating 72nd anniversary of adoption of Constitution. Let us all join hands to make this year's celebration an epoch-making and worth remembering by not just organizing events and commemorations, but by giving constitutional ethics a wider prominence in our thinking and actions. At the same time, we must strive to generate greater awareness about the Constitution and the rights and duties it endows on us. We must always believe that the Constitution has been framed for us